All right, hi friends. I welcome you all to this amazing batch that we shall be having for CA Final Advanced Auditing Assurance and Professional Ethics. Now, this is going to be a regular batch of CA Final Audit where we shall be discussing all the concepts in detail, and along with the relevant concepts, we shall be covering all the past exam questions, the questions from the new study material, the questions from RTP, MTP, everything. Okay. And we shall also, after every chapter is done, we shall also revise the concepts. So this is going to be an all inclusive package, I can say, for each one of you attending the sessions. Okay. Now, I assure you that, guys, once you attend these sessions, your clarity with respect to the subject of auditing is going to be very high. And perhaps this is the requirement which ICI also is expecting from the students, that you have to have a lot of conceptual clarity. And when I teach you guys, my perspective is, of course, to make you pass in the exams, but we are going to discuss the subject in a very practical manner, so that even after you become a chartered accountant and then you start your work, it shall be really very useful for you in your practical lives as well. So my objective is not just to make you pass the exams. Of course, this is one of the primary objectives, but also we shall be discussing a lot of practical aspects. Okay, now you must have heard it from your seniors that the kind of paper, the kind of questions that is being currently asked by ICI in the subject of auditing, it actually needs your practical knowledge. Okay, they don't just test you on theoretical basis. So I assure you that we shall be having a lot of fruitful and practical discussions, which is going to give you a lot of clarity. Okay. Now, CA Final Auditing, the name of the subject, as you can see, I mean, the full name is Advanced Auditing, then Assurance, and we have Professional Ethics. Okay. Now, before I start with the subject, it is better, right, if you have a good knowledge of the overall syllabus as to what all things we are going to cover in the subject. Okay. And how much time is it going to take? I'll just give you an overview, right? So, if you can see, I have given a detailed index. Okay, you will be getting 3 volumes of books. In each of the volumes we have the entire index, and then if you can see, we have in total around 19 chapters, and this is totally, guys, as per the ICI material. Okay, so we have 19 chapters, and I have, for the sake of convenience and as per ICI, I have also divided the chapters into 3 volumes. Okay. Now, for example, volume number 1 will be having 7 chapters. Volume number similarly will be having volume 2 and volume number 3. Okay. So in volume number 1, we'll be covering around 7 chapters, right? Now, but before that, what all things do we have to cover in CA final audit? Okay. I'm sure, I mean, every one of you, you are thorough. I am assuming that you are a bit thorough with the CA intermediate syllabus as well, and probably you'll be able to now understand what all things we are going to cover at an advanced level in the CA final level. Okay. Now, if I happen to make you understand the syllabus in a very simple manner, guys, I can basically divide the entire syllabus into 3 parts. Okay. Now, for the sake of satisfaction, I can say that entire CA final audit syllabus primarily has just 3 parts. Okay, three major chapters, I can say. Okay, so if I talk about the 3 major chapters, I can say first is the standards. We have to cover the standards, right? You have covered the standards in intermediate level also, and similarly we'll be covering the auditing standards at the final level also. So the focus here will be on standards, but of course, guys, this is advanced level auditing, right? So we'll be covering a lot more standards than what we had covered at the intermediate level, right? So what all standards are we going to cover? All of you must be knowing this, that we have 4 different types of standards. We have standards on auditing, we have standards on review engagement, we have standards on assurance engagement, and we have standards on related services. Okay, if you are not able to recall them, don't worry, guys. In the first few sessions that I'll be taking, I'll be brushing up all the basic concepts that were actually taught to you at the intermediate level. But I'm not sure. I mean, when you pass the intermediate level, out of excitement, perhaps you must have forgotten those concepts. So don't worry at all about them. I will be covering them in the first two sessions, probably all the basics that we had learned at the intermediate level, because I feel, when we start with the advanced level, at least the basics, if I brush it up for you, if we go through a quick revision of them, it is going to be really helpful for you to understand the advanced level concepts. Okay, so we have these standards. We have to cover these four different types of engagement standards: standards on auditing, standards on review engagements, standards on assurance engagements, and standard on related services. If you happen to recall again, guys, at the intermediate level, you covered some of the standards only pertaining to the auditing work, standards on auditing, but at the final level we shall be covering them all. Okay, and now if you see, guys, these standards, okay, I told you the entire syllabus I'll be dividing it into three parts. So these standards alone, guys, from chapter number 1 in the syllabus part, from chapter number 1 till chapter number 11, from chapter 1 to chapter number 11 is only standards. So out of 19 chapters that we have, yeah, I told you, right? We have 19 chapters in total. So out of 19 chapters that we have, 11 chapters pertain to the standards. And again, out of chapter 1 to 11, if you see, guys, okay, till chapter number 7, we have standards on auditing. If you see, chapter 7 is reporting. We have SA 700, 701, 705. All this you have covered at the intermediate level. In chapter number 6, we have SA 560, 570, 580. So likewise, from chapter number 1 to chapter number 7, we have standards on auditing. Chapter number 8 is basically, guys, special areas, specialized areas, SA 800 series. This was again not in your syllabus at the intermediate level. Then, guys, we have standard on related services, standards on review engagement, and standards on assurance engagement, right? So standards on auditing alone, guys, we have it like from chapter 1 to chapter 7, 8. Then review engagement, assurance engagement, and related services. So I can say, just to summarize, I can say this will be covered from chapter number 1 till, if you can see again, let me just check. Yeah, what was it? Chapter number 11. So this is chapter number 1 to chapter number 11. Done. First part of the course is only standards. Okay. Now, the second part of the syllabus, I can say, is basically, how should I write it? Let's say others. Let me write the chapter as others. What is others? I'll tell you in a bit. But before that, okay, let me put it in this way. Second part, let's say, is ethics. And let me write the third part as others. Okay. Now, ethics basically, if you see chapter number 19, the last chapter, it says professional ethics. Guys, see, whenever we as chartered accountants, when we work, okay, so you have to follow certain code of conduct given to us by ICI. Okay, we have to follow those rules. We have to be following those code of conduct and then work, as a chartered accountant. So if you happen to know all the standards, if you learn the ways of doing audit, but it is equally important for you to know the do's and don'ts. What as a chartered accountant you are supposed to do, what as a chartered accountant you are not allowed to do. This is also a very important aspect once you become a chartered accountant, right? So it is taught to you at the final level. So ethics part, guys, we are going to cover only in one chapter, very important chapter and very interesting chapter. It will become one of your favorites, generally the favorites of students at the final level. So ethics portion we shall be covering in chapter number 19. Okay, and the last part, basically I've named it as others. Okay, now why did I name this as others? See, what are the remaining chapters, guys? Till chapter number 11, I told you these are standards, right? Chapter number 19 is basically ethics. So now if you see, there are certain chapters in between. I'm calling them as others. Why? Because they are basically about auditing different categories of entities, or let's say different types of audits. So if you can see, we are going to learn something new, digital auditing. Okay, you also, you are very familiar with the fact that technology is, uh, coming like crazy into all spheres. Artificial intelligence, everything, people are now using AI to do the audit, etc. So we are going to learn about the new tools, the digital tools which are available for auditing. Then we shall be learning about different types of audits also. Like we have group audits, wherein we are going to learn about auditing consolidated financial statements. If let's say there is a consolidation done holding subsidiary, we shall learn how to audit the CFS, consolidated financial statements. Then we shall learn about auditing non-banking financial companies and banks. Okay, you have had a basic uh, discussion about auditing the banks at the intermediate level, but we are going to dive deeper at the CA final level, and we are going to learn more advanced concepts with respect to bank audit in chapter number 14. Then we have auditing the public sector undertakings, auditing PSUs. Then we'll learn about the concept of internal audit as well, some concepts of due diligence, investigation, forensic audit, and one more new topic, very new topic. Basically, the name is also emerging areas, wherein we shall be learning about new types of audit works which we as chartered accountants can provide, which pertains to, let's say, sustainable development goals. We call it, well, we call them as social auditing, we call them as environment, social, and governance assurance, etc. So all these are pretty new things that we are going to learn, right? So why did I name the third category as others? Please, guys, understand this, that at the intermediate level, the auditing that you were taught were primarily with respect to auditing the financial statements. Okay, but now if you see here, we are, and that too, if I say, we the entire concept revolved around auditing the financial statements. But here, guys, we are going to learn more things. We are going to see, if you can see the name of chapter 18, we are going to learn about environmental social governance assurance. So the domain of auditing at the CA final level is not just restricted to checking of the financial statements. We are going to go a lot deeper. We are going to basically extend, the subject matter from the financial statements to other things as well. Okay, we have due diligence. Okay, we have investigation. We have forensic accounting also, wherein we will just be interested, let's say, in finding frauds. So these were the things that were not taught to you at the intermediate level. Okay, so that is why I'm telling you that at the final level, our area will not just be restricted to financial statements, but we shall be diving into a lot of other aspects as well. Okay, so in total, guys, in short, I can say we have only three major parts of chapters, I can say, at the CA final level. And trust me, guys, if you keep this mindset while studying auditing, that okay, there are only three parts: standards, ethics, and the other small chapters. Okay, then trust me, psychologically also it is going to be a lot of relief for you, because in a way we feel okay, there are only three chapters and three books, that's it. Okay, all right. Now, how shall we be proceeding with the chapters, guys? Okay, now generally what happens is, uh, it's all about the preferences. Okay, right? Some would like to start with ethics, some would want to start with some chapters of standards, then go back to ethics and all. But then what I feel personally is, on the basis of my experience, I shall be starting with the standards first. Okay, generally the students find the standards a bit boring, but generally when I take it at the initial days of the classes, your attention span is highest during at least the first few days. I know that. Okay, and the ones who are going to watch the recorded lectures also, I know it very well that first few lectures, 10, 15, 20 lectures, you will be very attentive in watching. And also, if I cover the standards during those sessions, you'll be able to grasp it very well. So I believe I'll be taking up the standards first, then I'll be moving on to the ethics part, and then we'll be covering the small chapters towards the end. Okay, all right. Now, guys, how shall I be again proceeding? Now, some of you might have covered the auditing at intermediate level from me, and you might be knowing my pattern, right? So I'll be following the similar pattern, wherein I'll be discussing the concept, and then we'll be following the concept will be followed by the relevant question and answers. Now, one thing I like to tell you very clearly, that a lot of students ask me, sir, do you have a question bank? No, I don't have a separate question bank, guys. We do have a question bank, but the question bank is not given to you separately. It is, if let me just show it to you how the study material has been designed. Okay, let me just open one chapter for you. Yeah. So let's say this is just for the sake of understanding, guys. Let's say this is standard number 610. So we shall be covering the concept, and then at the end of each concept, I have given all the question and answers. Okay. If you can see, there are questions from the study material, and then there is the answer also given. Okay, some questions which are pretty direct in nature, for that I have not given the answer. Okay, let's say this one, just a hint is sufficient. Hint is sufficient, and most of the cases which are new, or where the explanation has to be read by the student, I have given all the answers also after each and every question. So now I personally believe, guys, this is a better approach. Okay, because what happens is, generally if the concept book is different and the question bank is different, you have to open two books together. Okay, and then it becomes very, for me it becomes very cumbersome. I feel it is better you read the concept, immediately go through the questions, right? So this is how our books are designed, and after every concept we'll be discussing the relevant chapters. Okay, all right. And one more thing, guys, for the ones who are attending live, and later on if you happen to revise in the recorded sessions, or for the ones who are actually opted for the recorded sessions, guys, let me tell you, our like, again, similar to what my teaching used to be at the intermediate level, guys, my lectures would not be like, the recorded ones would not be of uh, 3 hours or 2 hours each. Rather, my lectures would be, like, this is an introductory lecture, might go around, let's say, 35-40 minutes. Then the second lecture would come, I'll be teaching you the basics, might run for 50 minutes, 45 minutes, 1 hour, like that. So the lectures would be indexed properly and given to you. It will not be a 3 hour lecture. Okay, so the best part about this is, let's say I'm teaching you a small concept, let's say, okay, so you don't have to search later on. Let's say if you revise, you don't have to search, okay, where did I teach you this particular 20-minute topic, and then you're rewinding, forwarding. No, if you happen to revise something, you just click the topic and it will be there, right? So my topics, let me just see if the index is already there of the previous batch, so that you have a better understanding. Yeah. Okay, perfect. So see, so this is how the lectures will be scheduled. Introductory lecture, in the last batch perhaps it was just 22 minutes. Then we are going to take the engagement standards basics around 55 minutes, let's say. So this is how the lecture schedule will be. And if you see, the lectures are as short as 22 minutes. Some might go more than 2 hours, 1 hour 33 minutes, 1 hour 52 minutes. Some might just be, again, very short 10-minute lectures. And every lecture would be followed by the relevant question and answer. So this batch, what I'm going to do, if we, let's say, do essay 200, so the next topic would be the question and answers of essay 200. So again, question and answers also I'm going to give a separate video, just in case you just want to brush up the question and answers also. It will be very convenient for you. Okay, all right. Now, yes. Okay, so I hope you have an idea about the chapters, total 19 chapters. Okay, but again, I would still want to devote some more time on the syllabus. Okay, why? Probably just understand this, guys. Okay, so chapter number one is quality control, and we'll be covering, let's say, again, SQC1 and SA 220 in this. Okay, I hope, guys, at least the basics you are able to recall, that there was some standard called as SA 220, there was something called as SQC1, though both of them were at the intermediate level. Okay, now in chapter number 2 we have certain standards, again, 240, 250, 60, 299, 402. But there is a note also, guys, I want you to focus on this. Okay, now the CA final syllabus says in chapter number 2 we have these standards, guys. We have SA 240, 50, 60, 299, 402. But there is a remark, there is a note. It says content of SA 200. Content of essay 210, content of essay 230 is covered in depth at the intermediate level. Thus, application part of these standards may be discussed in the form of case study at the final level. So what has happened, guys, like for example, these three standards, 200, 210, 230, very basic standards that you learned at the intermediate level. So what has institute done is, institute says that the content of these standard was already covered at the intermediate level. So they are assuming that you have good knowledge about these standards, and at the final level they might test, or on the application part of these standards. Okay, similarly in okay, let me show you a few more chapters. Okay, yeah, audit evidence. There's an entire chapter essay on 500 series, audit evidence. Again, it says 500, 501, 505, 510, 530, 550 were covered at in depth at intermediate level. Thus, application part of above standards may be discussed in the form of case study at the final level. Now, you know, how should I put this? Okay, take a deep breath and ask yourself, do you are you will you be able to recall these standards properly? I mean, the kind of learning, or probably it's almost an year or so, or more than a year perhaps, since you pass intermediate level, and I'm assuming, let's say, you have another year before you appear for the CA final level. So my simple question to all of you is, okay, do you think you'll be able to recall and answer the questions, if at all asked on these standards directly in the exam? Yes. How many of you are able to recall these standards, or will be able to write answers at the final level if at all you're asked questions on these? Yes, guys. Please, no one in the Google. Yeah, I can see certain chats in the uh, app. Okay, now the ones who are attending on the app, you have a drawback. You'll only be able to text. I mean, you'll be able to chat, but some of the students are there on Google Meet as well. You have the option to unmute and answer, or you have the option to write also and answer. Yes, please tell me. Do you think you'll be able to answer them on the basis of the knowledge you have at the standard, at the intermediate level? Okay, I'll give you one example also. Okay, this was chapter number 5, right? Let me open chapter number 5 for you. Yeah, ICI is chapter number 5. Yeah, ICI chapter number 5. See how they have given the entire chapter, audit evidence, right? Okay, yeah. Yes. So SA 500 is audit evidence. All of you are able to recall this, right? Now, see, this is how the topic has been given in the form of a chart. 500. That's it. This 500 is done, and then they have given a certain question. Okay. And then comes 501, again in the form of chart. Over. Okay. Then there are certain questions. Then comes 505. All right. Now, I'll just want you to go through the questions. Okay. One question, let's just check. Mm, yeah. Towards the end of the chapter. This one. Okay, so yeah, so institute has told us, right? They have mentioned it clearly that they might be asking questions based on applications, right? So see this question, case study. They have given a certain question. I'm not going through the entire question at the moment, but yeah, based on the case study, the case that they have given, please advise the auditor on important areas. So you have to answer now based on the case that they have given. And see question number 1. Which audit procedures are required for verifying existence and condition of company's inventory with specific reference to its nature of operations? So, guys, my simple question to all of you is, do you think that the charts which has been given by IC in this study material, will it be enough for you to study them and then answer these questions by yourself? So my personal opinion is, I don't know. In fact, because this is a regular batch, don't worry at all. I'll not be just covering the charts. I will be covering quickly the entire standards along with all the questions. Okay, even though they were taught to you at the intermediate level, you never know if questions of application based questions are asked at the exam at final level. So, you know, it's my duty, I should say, that we'll be covering these standards also in detail, and hence yeah, but I'll be relatively quick because you must be having fair knowledge, right? At least like what is audit evidence, a bit of 501. But we'll not just ignore them and just go through the charts. In my material, what I've done, if you can see again, yeah. So in our material, how will you find audit evidence? We have the entire standard given. Okay, we'll quickly go through them so that, guys, and then the questions also, so that even if any application based questions are asked from the standards that were learned at intermediate level, you'll not have any confusion and you'll be able to answer them very well at the final level. Okay, so this is how I'm going to take up the subject. Okay, so I hope you are clear on this. Don't think that, yeah, in most of the chapters of the standards this language will be mentioned in your syllabus, that only they will be testing you on the application part. Of course, that's a good thing, but to be able to answer such questions, your fundamentals with respect to these standards have to be clear. So I'll be revising it for you again. We'll be brushing up the concepts again, even though it was taught to you at the intermediate level. Don't worry at all about it. Okay, all right. Now, yes, so I think I have given you a fair idea about the syllabus. Okay, and again, if you happen to see, guys, in volume number one, like very similar to what we had at the intermediate level, what I've done is I have inserted one extra chapter from my end, which is basically chapter number 0. I call it as the fundamentals. Okay, and before I take up any of the chapters, I'll be discussing in the upcoming session, in the next session, I'll be discussing the fundamentals with you. We'll be learning very basic words. I will even be discussing what is auditing. Also be teaching you what are misstatements, what is error, what is fraud. Just quick brush up of the concepts so that when we start with the chapters, uh, it gives you a lot of clarity. Okay, so again, we'll be discussing the fundamental. All right. Now, before I actually start the session, guys, we are still at the introductory part. Before I start this session, the ones who are attending live, a simple request to all of you that you have to be regular. Okay, you have to participate in the class and take the maximum advantage of the live sessions. Guys, there is some electricity, I mean, transformer work going on in the building. There might be some fluctuations. Okay, all right. And the ones who are attending, who are going to watch the recorded sessions, my humble request to all of you, if you want your sessions, if you want the classes to be very, very effective, you have to be consistent, guys. Okay, if you're watching 2 lectures today, ensure you maintain the momentum and you watch them consistently, and set a deadline that, okay, I want to finish auditing in the next 40 days, in the next 45 days. What I've observed is students would buy the lectures, they would install the lectures, they would open the books, they'll be happy that they've got the books, they'll watch 2 3 lectures with full josh and full enthusiasm, and then again there would be gaps. When we see the logs, we see, okay, the student has watched 4 lectures in 4 days, then there is a gap of 1 week, and then he's watching one lecture, and then again there is a gap. So this way, the interest in the subject is going to go down. You'll not be able to link the concepts. Okay, so every theoretical subject that I teach, probably I always tell the students to be very consistent, be very regular. And that is why in the live session also, I told you that I'll be taking the sessions every day, so that we're able to link the concepts and there is not much gap in between. So this is my humble request. Okay, with this, guys, let us start our journey of CA Final Audit. And again, let me assure you, it's going to be super amazing, super awesome. We shall not just be discussing the concepts. I'll ensure that you happen to learn them also, and then we'll be covering a lot of questions also. Okay,